everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. So I'm just going to quickly talk you through what I'm going to be doing in this video. Just while I'm doing something off camera, I'm just tidying my, what's it called, my palette ready for this video, because I'm going to need lots of space because I'm going to use lots of different colours. So I'm not doing a normal set that I usually do today, like where they all go together sort of thing. I'm doing just some completely different nails from each other, just to show you some design ideas to go with, to use blossom gel for. Basically that's what we're going for. So I'm just going to talk you through the colours I'm going to use for this first design. So we've got Peach Martini. They are all Gel Perfection colours I'm using in this one. So we've got Peach Martini. I will show you them when they're on my palette as well at the end. And then I've got Bubblegum, which is this beautiful pink. So because we're doing it on top of black, I've tried to pick colours that are quite pigmented. Then we've got Lollipop, which is this one. I don't want anything that's too like sort of wishy-washy, because obviously the fact that it's going to blossom as well is going to make it a little bit more see-through than it would be normally. So I'm trying to get ones that are nice and colourful. So we've got Heat Wave, which is this really bright neon orange, which I'm not sure how it's going to look over black, but we'll soon find out. And then I've also got Bright Yellow, which is Sherbet Lemon, which if you've seen my videos before with yellow in, you would have seen this because it is the best bright yellow. So here's the colours. This is what they look like. So I'm going to apply my Blossom base. So this, no, it's not, wrong bottle. This is what it looks like. This is the Blossom base coat from Bluesky, and this is the clear version. I believe they do a white one as well, but I'm using the clear, and I always find that the clear is best, just because obviously you can use it over any colour you want. And if you do want to use have a white base, then you absolutely can, even with this. Like, you just put your white base down with your normal polish, then use this on top. So I just feel like you're a little bit more limited when you use the white one, but this one is great. So once I've done that, I've done a nice even coat over the whole nail. I'm going to get my, what's it called, my dotting tool, that's what it's called, and I've got a little lint free wipe next to me just to wipe off my dotting tool between colours. And first things first, I'm just going to pick up the colours randomly, and I'm going to get like large ones, I'm going to get smaller ones, and just so on. And then I'm just going to keep picking them up. I'm doing one colour at a time, so I don't have to clean my dotter between every single time I put a colour on the nail. I'm just picking up the colours, but I'm moving quite quick because obviously they're going to start blossoming straight away, and we need to get that on before they blossom too much and then we run out of space for the next colour. Just got one more colour left to do. And I'm just wiping my brush off really quickly in between as well to get the excess blossom base off my dotting tool, because that can interfere a little bit with your design. Just going to quickly go over those pink ones that I did originally, just to get the centre of them a little bit darker. And then we'll let that move out a little bit, but it's just something totally different. And I'm going to do the same with the orange one down there, just because that's lost a lot of its colour, and up here and down here. And I'm just going to let it keep blossoming, because as you can see, the shapes are sort of changing direction stuff. Like this one's floating outwards, that's gone down into this one, and that's the sort of look we're going for with this design. It's just something totally random. It's a bit like a mosaic sort of effect. I don't think that's what I'm looking for, but I know what I mean. So I'm just going to give that a minute just to do its thing, and then once I'm happy with it, you can just pop it in the lamp. Obviously you could cover the whole nail if you want, but I quite like having a bit of black left over, so I'm just letting it do its thing. And once I'm happy, I'm going to pop that into the lamp, so I'm going to do that now. Something different, that's for sure. So I'm going to let that set, and then I'm going to let it cure even, and then I'm going to top coat it off camera, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and then we can move on to the next one. So here is the first one completely finished. Very cute, something a little bit different. So next up we're going to be doing some, like another, I don't know why I'm saying another like that one was, but I'm going to be doing a floral design with this one now. So I've never actually done this before, I'm not sure how it's really going to turn out, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So again, I'm applying my Blossom base all over the nail, and I'm going to try and do those dotted flowers, but like a blossom effect, to see how they come out, like an abstracty florally sort of look. We shall see. It might turn out to be a fail, who cares? We never know until we try. So I've got my dotting tool. I'm going to be using these same colours that I've just used, just because obviously they're already there and I don't want to waste more when I could just use the ones that are here. So I'm going to be using a slightly smaller dotting tool this time. I'm going to be using this side of my dotter and not this one. So I'm going to go in straight away. I'm going to get my pink on my dotter and I'm going to do 5 dots. Now obviously I need to work relatively quick because they're going to start moving as soon as I move on to the next area. So I need to move quick because the more that I leave them, the longer I leave them, the more they're going to blossom basically. So I need to bear that in mind. I do want them to blossom, obviously that is the whole point of blossom design, but I don't want them to blossom too much where they don't look like flowers anymore. I did that one really badly, but never mind, we'll go with it. I'm going to do one more of this corner up here. Again, cleaning my brush off in between colours. And then I'm going to leave it just 1 second for this top left one to blossom. I'm just going to wait a sec and then I'm going to pop that into the lamp when I'm happy, which I am now. So I'm going to pop that in for a full cure and then I'm going to pop some glitter on the middle of it. I think I'm going to go with this silver Brill Bird, I can't remember, Diamond collection I think it's called. The, what are they called, reflective gels. I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in the middle just to bring it all together. So I've just quickly cured it for a sec. I'm just going to pop this on the middle now so I can cure it all at the same time. Obviously this isn't going to blossom because we've cured that blossom base now. So this is just going to sit as a cute little dot in the middle. So there's that. I'm going to pop that back in for a full cure. Then just to finish it off, because I think it's a little bit plain, I'm going to go in with Gold Coast. And I'm just going to pop that. Actually, no, I'm going to do it the quicker way just because it is a practice tip and I can get away with it. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to do this on a client, but I'm going to do it this way. So we're going to go down the side of the nail. And then over the free edge. Far too much on my brush. And then down the other side. It's not very often I use this polish that I'm using now, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's perfect for designs like this where you just want a bit of something extra but nothing too crazy. It's really, really good. So once I've got that on there, I'm then just going to use my ombre brush. Let me get my wider one actually. And then I'm just going to pull it inwards from the outer edges. Like so. Just to give it a little bit of something extra so it's not too plain. Just like that. That little bit around the border. So then I will top coat this off camera and then show you what it looks like when it's completely done. So there is that nail all completed. Nice and subtle floral. Quite like it actually how that turned out. So I'm going to pop this in the lamp now because I've just top coated it and not put it in. I'm going to get on with the next nail, which is going to be a marble. So I've done one coat of my base colour on this nail because I'm going to be covering the whole nail anyway, so it doesn't need to be like all completely covered because it'll be full coverage by the time we're finished. So I'm going to be using the colour that is the base of the nail, which is called Lily Pad, and then this one that I'm applying to my palette now is called Parakeet. And I'm just applying that to my palette like so. And then I'm also going to be using Alaska as well, which is white. So I'm just going to pop some of Lily Pad down. next to that darker colour, which was Parakeet. And just wiping off my brush elsewhere on my palette to make sure that that colour is not going to contaminate my bottle. And then, like I said, we're going to go in with white. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Really badly, apparently. So I'm going to get my dotting tool, make sure it's clean, and I'm just going to swirl these colours together a little bit. Not too much, but also you need to do it enough to make sure that you get, obviously, the colours mixed together. So that's what it looks like on the palette. Very, very pretty. So I'm going to put my Blossom base again onto my nail. I'm covering the whole nail again. You can obviously do this design like partially on the nail as well. And you'd only need to apply the Blossom base coat to the area that you want your marble to be. Because it will only blossom where the Blossom base coat is, of course. So you can just swap it wherever you need it, but I'll explain that more in a second because the next design is going to be like that. So this is what it looks like, and now this time I'm going to use a different brush than I usually would for this sort of design, just to create a different sort of effect. So I'm just going to make sure it's nice and clean before I use it. I'm going to be using this brush here, which usually I'd use an ombre brush to do this design, but I'm going to do just slightly different technique. So I'm just going to scoop it up and then I'm just going to apply it to the nail. And just applying it in really random places, wiping off the majority off my brush, and then I'm going back in, taking that up to where I just put it, making sure it goes right up to the corners. I've got hair on there, that's annoying. I think I've got it. Just going to join those up so they're linked together. I'm going to pull this down because it's sitting a bit up there. And then I'm going to go with some more. Just wiping off the excess. And then a bit more. I love marble. The possibilities with marble are just endless. You can do it in so many different ways, it's fab. So that's what it looks like, and I'm going to give it a second to just bloom a little bit more. I'm actually just going to pop a little bit of the darker colour up here, so we don't have much of it there. So scoop that off. And then I'm just going to let it chill out for a second, and then before I put it in the lamp I will remove a little bit of the excess from the sides. You can either do that with your hand, but obviously make sure that you've got gloves on instead of being like me and getting it all over your skin and then probably being allergic to it in the future. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that my brush is clean, and I'm going to go down the side and just scoop off the excess right along the edge, because obviously nails are naturally curved, so your polish will automatically just float to the sidewall area, and that will mean that your sidewall area will naturally just get really thick compared to everywhere else, and it will change the shape of your nail, and it's just overall really annoying. So I'm just going to keep letting it float for just a couple of seconds, removing all that excess, because you want to make sure that it cures properly. And then once I'm happy, we don't have lots of bulky area on the side walls, and that little air bubble there is gone, I'm going to put it into the lamp. Beautiful. So I'm going to pop that in for a full cure, and again I'll top coat off camera and then show what it looks like when it's done. So here is that nail all finished. Looks absolutely beautiful. Obviously you can do whatever colour scheme you want and put your marble in whatever direction you want. I absolutely love how this turned out. So moving on to the next nail. This one is probably going to be the easiest of all of them. So this colour that I've got on here is called Blossom, and I've done 2 coats of it, and then I'm going to be using, where have I put it? Royal, no I'm not, I'm going to be using Senorita with this one. So I'm just going to put a little dot of this colour onto my palette. Senorita is like a pinky sort of red. It's just absolutely beautiful, and again we're going to be going in with a dotting tool. So this is, like I just mentioned to you, we're just going to be doing a certain, where have I put the Blossom base? There it is. A certain area of the nail is going to be, what's it called? Like blossom design on this one. So we're only going to apply the blossom gel where we want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and map out where I want the design to be. And then I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and even application so it works properly. So if it's too thin, it might not move as I want it to. Then if it's too thick, obviously it's not going to cure properly. So we need to get a good, happy medium. So once I've done that, I'm then going to clean up, oh gosh, I'm making a mess. I'm going to clean up my line where I've just applied it to make sure that it is exactly only where I want it. That'll do. So I'm going to pop that. No, I'm not going to pop that in the lamp. Gosh, don't do that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to make sure that now I've got it where I want it, that it's nice and smooth again. And I know this seems probably a little bit overkill, but it is important to get it nice and smooth. And then once I'm happy, it's where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to go in with a dotting tool again. I'm using the larger one again this time. And I'm going into Senorita, which as you can see is on my palette down this corner. And I'm just going to start up here and apply Senorita in dots. I am wiping off my dotting tool every now and then, because even though I'm using only one colour, I don't want to get too much of the blossom gel on my brush, on my dotting tool. And of course you want to make sure that you're only applying it to where you've put your blossom gel. So I'm just moving it around slightly in the light for you to be able to see where it is better. And just going along with it. And then once I've done that, I'm going to pop that in the lamp for a full cure. And just to finish this design off, I've got some pink leaf here from Sparkle Splash UK, which will not focus for some reason. There we go, got some pink leaf that I'm going to apply. So I'm just going to use my tweezers, if I could locate them, where have I put them? There they are. I'm just going to use my tweezers to make sure that I've got a few small pieces. So there's already a few in the lid. I'm just going to remove, ready. So much easier to use these when you've got your little pieces ready, you don't have to fight them. So this is the perfect thing to be doing if you're going to be using them while your nail is in, or your hand or whatever is in the lamp, because then you're not going to have to mess about when it comes out. You can just do it all at once while you're waiting. So that should be plenty for this nail, because there's not a lot of space here to do. So because this nail, obviously I've removed the tacky layer from this area of the pink to be able to clean this line up, and this isn't going to be enough tackiness like to stick it down together completely. I'm going to apply some base coat. So I'm going to just pop some on my palette next to me. And then I'm going to use my brush that I've just been using to do my marble. I'm just going to apply some around where I want to put my leaf. I always find that curing leaf into base coat is so much better than using the tacky layer anyway, just because it is so easy for it to just slide off when you're top coating. So to make sure that it's really stuck, I like to cure it into a base coat. So to pick it up, I'm just going to use that I've just used to apply the base coat, because obviously it's got a little bit still on there. And then I'm just going to apply it to the area that I want it. Obviously you can use whatever colour you like, but it just so happened that I got a nice pink one that was in my most recent order, so it's a perfect opportunity for me to use it. And I'm just applying that basically along that line where that marble design meets, got a little hair there, where the blossom, design meets the colour. So I'm just breaking that bit up a little bit. Getting it exactly where I want it, and then when I'm happy I can pop that into the lamp. I think I want a little bit more here and here. Let's get it a little bit thicker. And I think just one more piece down here, and I am happy with how that looks. So I'm going to pop that into the lamp for a full cure of 60 seconds to cure that base coat, and then I will top coat off camera again and show you how it looks at the end. So here is what that one looks like. I absolutely love how it turned out. I think these colours go beautifully as well. That coloured leaf is just stunning. So let's move on to the next one now, which is going to be I don't know what I've got written down. Oh, so we're doing something a little bit different on this one. I haven't done the base colour on this one because I needed to do it on camera. Because the base itself is going to be a little bit different than the ones we've just done. So first things first, I'm getting my white on my palette. And I'm going to use my liner brush. I'm using the Erin's Favourite one. I'm just going to apply quite a thick line of white down the centre of this nail. I've actually done this design before. I don't think it was for a YouTube video. I think it was for... what was it? I think it was a live on Instagram. Like ages ago. I haven't done a live on Instagram for a really long time, but I did quite a few of them in the first COVID lockdown, so it was like a couple of years ago now, but I think it was for one of those, and it was a different sort of effect anyway, because I did it as and I think it was an ink design, an inky design with the magpie inks that I did it with. So it's the same sort of effect but just different medium basically. Instead of using blooming gel to create it, I used blossom gel. So I used ink, sorry. So basically I'm just going to fill in this middle bit. So I'm going to do it off camera because obviously it's very long-winded because I'm using a really thin brush, and it's also very boring. So I'm just going to quickly do that. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to flash cure this for 30 seconds. I'm doing it for 30 because I just really don't want it to bubble while I'm doing the other one. You can just fully cure, to be fair, but I'm just being lazy and saving myself 30 seconds, which obviously isn't that much really. But I'm then going to go in with blackout. I'm just going to pop a little bit on my palette, but not too much because I am just going to use the brush from the bottle to do that. So I'm just going to use blackout alongside this now. So there's white going down the middle and then black either side of it. So I'm going to use my liner brush to just create the line, like first of all, and get it exactly how I want it and everything. And then once I'm happy with it, like I said, I'm just going to go in with, it doesn't help that my nails are black and white, so you can barely really see what I'm doing because they're in the background. But yeah, I'm just going to, when I've got, oh my gosh, what did I do there? When I've got my line, how I want it and everything, I will then go in with the brush from the bottle. I'm just going to clean this up. Absolute mess that I just made. Just to make it a little bit quicker instead of having to use this tiny brush to keep filling in lots of space. So there's that side, because it is much easier to put like your gel up to a line when you've already like created the line and everything. Hopefully that makes sense. Instead of just trying to create the line with the brush from the bottle itself, because obviously it's quite large and bulky and it's very difficult to create a really straight line with a brush like that. So once I've done that, I'm just going to get my brush from the bottle and just fill in those side walls. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to pop this in the lamp for a full cure. I'm probably going to do, let me just see how this looks after I've done one coat. You know what, no, I'm not going to bother doing another coat of the black because I think that looks pretty good anyway with just one coat. So I'm just going to fill this in, and then I'm going to pop it in the lamp, cure it fully, and then once it comes out we can carry on with our blossom gel design. So once that's out the lamp, I'm then going to go in with my blossom base coat, and I'm going to apply that to just the white area. Just the white. If it does overlap a little bit, it's not too much of a problem, but just try and keep it majority just on the white where you need it. And then I'm just making sure that it's nice and smooth application, like I said earlier, like not too thin, not too thick. And then once I've done that, again, I'm using the same colours that are already on my palette just to make use of them. So I'm going to go in with my dotting tool again. And this time I'm going to go from dark to light. I'm also going to add Senorita in as well, just because I've already used it and obviously it's on my palette. So I'm going to go in with Senorita first, because it's the darkest colour of all of them. I'm going to pop that there, and then I'm going to go in with the orange colour. And then I'm going to go in with the next darkest, which is the pink. Obviously, because I've only applied the Blossom base coat to that area, it's not going to go any further than there. Then I'm going to go in with orange. No, I'm not. I've already done the orange. Not that orange. I'm going in with the next colour of pink, which is a bit lighter than that one I've just used. I'm not doing too much of this though, because I did a lot of the previous pink. I'm wiping off my dotting tool between colours. And then I'm going to go in with the peachy colour. I'll just touch the same dot, but never mind. And then a little bit of the yellow just at the bottom, like so. So that's that. And then I'm going to pop that into the lamp for a full cure. And again, I will top coat off camera and show you when it's done. So I've also decided I'm just going to put a bit of silver around the outside of it. So I'm just going to get some platinum, which is a colour again from Gel Perfection. And I'm just going to place that down the side of the design. It's not like too in your face when it's over black, so that's why I'm using this. I didn't want anything too crazy that's going to pull away from the design that's already there. We just want something that's going to just outline it, not actually like be overpowering or anything. My straight lines today are absolutely atrocious. I don't know what is wrong with me. I'm just going to use my other brush to just tidy that bit up there. There we go, perfect. And then once I'm happy again, full cure, and I will top coat and then show you when it's finished. So this is the finished look for that one. I absolutely love this. I think this is my favourite so far, to be honest. So I'm just going to cure that because the top coat is still wet. Then we can move on to our last nail. So the last nail is going to be a Pigments background design. So we're going to make a bit of a mess. So first things first, I'm just going to do one coat of white. I haven't done it yet because I needed it to be half cured. I didn't want it to be sat around half cured for ages. So I'm going to be using white because I want the pigments to be nice and bright on the nail. So putting white as the background to really make them pop. And then I'm going to pop this into the lamp just for 30 seconds, not a full cure. I just want half a cure because Gel Perfection gel polishes don't have much of a tacky layer. Whereas obviously if I'm doing pigments, I need that tacky layer. So we're just going to cure it for half the time to leave some of the tacky layer there. We'll put the pigments on and then we'll cure for the rest of the time. So I'm just going to grab my pigments while this is in the lamp. So I'm using the pigments from Tia's Beauty. They come in lots of different colours. I am using orange, apricot, pink, and she says yellow. So you've got a nice array of colours. I'm just dipping a little bit of each pigment into the lid. We don't need a ridiculous amount of them. Although not using a ridiculous amount of pigment is pretty impossible because they are so messy. I've already made a huge mess with them already, so that's good. But anyway, it's all fun and games. It's all part of the fun, making mess when you're doing nail art. So once I've got a little bit of all of them, well, not even a little bit of all of them, I've got a lot of pink, never mind, and this nail is half cured, I'm going to bring out the lamp. I'm going to get my little tubby glitter brush, and I'm not being mean to it, it generally is called that on the website. My phone absolutely hates gold, so I'm going to have to take these away from the camera. Because for some reason it just doesn't like it at all, it's just a nightmare, but there we go. So I'm going to go in with each colour first. So I'm just going to pick up my pink, place it in random like areas, get all the excess, well, get as much of the excess off as I can, and then I'm going to go into my next colour. Try not to put too much pressure on the nail, else it will just come off the holder. And then I'm going to go in with my next one. And then last but not least, we've got some yellow to come in those areas that I've missed. And then I'm going to cure it for the rest of the time. I'm just going to knock off the excess by just tapping it a second. And then I'm going to pop this into the lamp for a full cure. So So another 30 seconds, because it's already been in for 30. In the meantime, I'm just going to tidy up because these make such a mess, it is ridiculous. I'm going to put all the lids on, and then I'm also going to just tidy the background, what's it as well, what's this called, card, and then I will be back when I'm not covered in pigment. Now just quickly before I wash my hands, because there's no point doing that then to do this and get it ever again, I'm just going to use my fluffy brush to just get rid of any excess off this nail, making sure that there's hardly any left. I'm also just going to get a lint-free wipe and just very gently brush over the pigment to make sure that all that excess really is gone and the pigment that's on there is nice and rubbed in. And that's what it looks like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a coat of a normal base coat over the top. So it's really important that you get the excess off, else you're going to contaminate the gel that you're going to use on top. So I am using Super Base from Gel Perfection literally just because it is next to me, not because I need a rubber base or anything. You can just use normal base coat. In fact, I'd advise it. It's a lot easier to apply because obviously it's thinner. But I'm just popping this on to protect my pigment from the Blossom base coat, because the last thing we want is to mess up our Blossom design and then be really annoyed and have to do the pigment all over again because we didn't seal it first. Once I've done that, I'm going to pop that into the lamp for a full cure of 60 seconds. I'm going to wash my hands. So once that's cured, I'm going to take off the tacky layer just so I can see where I'm applying my normal, like my Blossom base. So just removing that excess. So I'm going to apply my Blossom base coat now, and I'm just going to apply that to half of the nail. Just getting a rough line. I'm not bothered about it being absolutely perfect because I'm going to be putting something there anyway to cover up where they two meet, so it's fine. And I'm just going to make sure that that application is nice and smooth and even, and then once I'm happy I can go in with the design. So I'm going to be using black for this. And again, I'm just going in with my dotting tool that I've got to hand. I'm just going to make sure that I've got a little lint-free wipe to wipe off the excess as well in the process. And then I'm going to go in with my dotting tool and just apply black dots to that whole side of the nail. Too much base coat on my dotter, which is what causes that. So I'm just making sure to clean off often. It's such a cool effect. I really do love Blossom designs. It's very different, and you never really 100% know what you're going to turn out with either, which is even more exciting. So there's that. That is what that looks like. I'm going to pop it into the lamp for a full cure. And then I'm going to be using, what's it called? The flexi tape as well. So I'm going to be going in with white and black. So I've got those ready to go. I'm going to be using quite a wide strip of the white one and then a thinner one of the black, because obviously there is majority black on here. So I'm going to be using about this width of the white. I don't know how long this nail is because it's not the one I usually work with. So I'm just going to cut off about that much. That's the white one, and then the black I just want a nice thin piece. So I'm going to get this back out now that it's cured. Hopefully it's long, and oh, I don't think it's long enough. That's quite bad judgment, but we'll see. Don't matter if it's a little bit too short. Oh, it's a lot too short. How frustrating is that? Anyway, so now I know that it's longer than I think it is. I'm going to cut off a piece that's actually long enough this time. I'm just going to get the piece that's next to it and do it longer this time. These nails are much longer than the ones I usually use even. So I'm just going to get that off there. And then I'm going to put the white right down the centre where that black meets the neon. If I can keep hold of that. And then I'm just going to cut off that little bit at the end. And then I'm going to use the black, which I think I've also done too short. Yes, I have. And the black's just going to go next to that, not touching it, like just a little gap away from the white, just to bring some black into that other side. Like so. I'm just going to pop that bit off there, make sure that it's all nice and stuck. And then I'm just going to top coat this and I will show you what it looks like when it's top coated. So here are all the designs finished. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I've absolutely loved making it. It's been really satisfying to do all these designs. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another one. Let me know which one is your favourite in the comments. Bye!